Excellencies, dear ladies and gentlemen, frankly speaking, what a pleasure to be with you in Abu Dhabi today for the well-known Abu Dhabi Finance Week. And first of all, allow me to congratulate you for the excellent organization. It's the place to be to discuss many challenges about the future of the financial sector. And also it's a real honor for me to address such a distinguished audience. Besides, I have to say, the timing of this RAISE Summit on Sustainable Finance couldn't be better timed with COP28 starting today in Dubai. What a fantastic acronym, RAISE, I have to say. Congratulations again, you deserve a copyright for that. RAISE, regulation, awareness, collaboration, and ecosystem. So it's a comprehensive, I would say, expression, and all of which deserve our attention as financial regulator in the context of climate change. However, and I hope that you will understand it, speaking my capacity as IOSCO board chair, I will be focusing my intervention on, of course, regulation and collaboration. Why? Because they are by definition many links in a cross-border system, and it was something addressed by many members of the panel just before my speech. So it means that when we have to discuss about regulation, it means cross-border regulation, how to avoid fragmentation, and it means by definition collaboration. Regulation because IOSCO is, as you know, one of the few global membership organizations of financial supervisors. There are not so many global membership organizations. And IOSCO is a global standard-setting body that has an excellent track record in delivering policy outcomes and limiting regulatory fragmentation. Collaboration, of course, because it's the so-called raison d'être of IOSCO to reach consensus. We never vote. It's a consensus base. I'm not sure that so many people in the audience know that the starting point of many reforms are in fact in Madrid, the headquarters of IOSCO. When you speak about mutual funds, hedge funds, benchmark, rating agency, crypto assets, most of the time the first high-level principles were designed at worldwide level and then translated, for instance, in Europe through binding or non-binding regulation. It's normal, because whenever you have a consensus around the table, it means much more capacity to convey the message for the political decision maker at jurisdiction level where the political legitimacy exists. So it also means that collaboration across regions is of the utmost importance if we are to meet the challenge of achieving the necessary regulatory consistency in order to deliver global solutions to global challenges. And when we speak about global challenges, risk and opportunity, of course, we are speaking about sustainable finance. What does it mean for IOSCO? Well, it means that IOSCO has been leading important work on 4 work streams, a comprehensive package. First, sustainability-related disclosure. Second priority, related Asian standards. Third, transition plan, but also, last but not least, financial integrity of carbon market. And all these issues cannot be addressed at jurisdiction level alone. They require the involvement of every jurisdiction. Collaboration is therefore key across jurisdiction and across regions. I appreciate the importance of my responsibility as IOSCO chair in developing solutions that are both ambitious enough to reach our joint objective and at the same time being scalable and proportionate so as to ensure that no one is left behind and taking into account regional specificities. I come from Belgium. As you know, Belgium is not the biggest country all around the world. So it means that in this kind of country, we understand, of course, by definition, what it means to be able to make compromise. That's also an expression in my country, to make Belgium compromise. And that's what we are doing, I would say, at IOSCO level. And it's important, I'm not sure that everybody knows what it means, IOSCO. IOSCO, it means 130 jurisdictions. There are less than 200 independent states all around the world, and all members are involved in various capacities in the supervision of almost 95% of the global financial sector all around the world. So it means that when you have a consensus around the table of IOSCO board, by definition, it means a consensus for many, many different regions. And I have also to stress the fact that the majority of our members are representative of growth and emerging market. We have a very important growing emerging market chaired by my colleague from Egypt, Mohammed, which is in fact a very large committee with more than 90 jurisdictions. And the work of IOSCO is underpinned by our goals of investor protection and market doing. And this is something fascinating, I have to say. You don't have to think that it happens frequently in a career of a financial COP or a financial supervisor. Because the starting point, it's not a government, it's not the G20, it's not the FSB, it's in fact you. You, if you are a private or sophisticated investor, John and Mary in the street, who would like to invest in companies, in products, which are in line with your ESG expectation. Are you interested in using, in working with an alphabet soup of private and public standards all around the world? Of course not. You would like to work with one global standards. And that's the reason why the starting point, you, ladies and gentlemen, excellencies, is so important. It's a demand-driven exercise. And that's the reason why IOSCO has to be there. I am not saying that IOSCO must be there about always, but whenever there is a global challenge, I think that I may say that IOSCO has to be there in the picture because we are able to deliver a message all around the world. And that was the pleasure to say just after my election by all the IOSCO board members at COP27 in Sharm el-Sheikh. I outlined IOSCO regulatory priorities for sustainability disclosure, mitigating greenwashing and promoting integrity in carbon market. Because the journey is fascinating, but it's risky. Whenever there is a question about the trust from our fellow citizens, from the investor, there is a danger about greenwashing. And that's the reason why we need also to address and to try to speak the same common language, take into account national stability. If you see what happens during COP27 and COP28, I have to say, we can be proud together of what we've been able to do. Because much has been achieved in the area of sustainability disclosure over a very short period, and with the objective to help you, issuer, investor, user, preparers, auditors, to disclose more efficiently and effectively sustainability-related risk, opportunities, and sustainability targets, and to meet the demand of investors and of other stakeholders at the same time. Because what are you expecting? What I am expecting from the financial sector, it's not to have an added value about technological solution. That's not the job of the financial sector. If there is an added value for the financial sector, it's about the capacity of the financial sector to have an added value about how to channel savings to targets, companies which are in line with ESG expectation. What does it mean? It means, in other words, that capital markets have a role to play in allowing companies to raise capital for their transition, and a prerequisite, therefore, is that investors have access to the right information to invest in this company. It's about material information to be used by people who would like to invest in companies more than other ones. This means bringing sufficient trust and integrity to the marketplace so that investors can make informed decisions about how to allocate their capital, knowing that the likelihood of falling victim to greenwashing is reduced. And since Erkki Liikanen, the chair of the IFRS Foundation, announced at COP26 only 2 years ago, November 2021 in Glasgow, the launch of the ISSB, in fact there were two main events during the Finance Day at this time, the launch of GFANS by Makarne and the launch of the ISSB by Erkki Liikanen. The ISSB board, under the leadership of Emmanuel Faber, has delivered its first standards in June 2023. IOSCO endorsed this in July, and I had the pleasure to organize a press conference in Brussels for that with an incredible press coverage as an appropriate global framework for capital market. What does it mean, an IOSCO endorsement? We don't have any political legitimacy. We are securities regulator. I don't have any political legitimacy. That at national level or in Europe, for instance, regional level with the co-legislator. But the fact that we were able to endorse so fast this toolkit designed by ISSB means that we called IOSCO 130 jurisdiction, consensus-based decision. We called on jurisdiction to consider ways in which the jurisdiction might adopt, apply, or otherwise be informed by the ISSB framework to promote consistent and comparable climate-related and other sustainability-related disclosure, for instance. My expectation, ladies and gentlemen, is that with some carve-in, carve-on, at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, more than 130,000 companies all around the world reviews the ISSB framework. I repeat, 130,000 companies. It's a giant step in the history of reporting related to sustainable finance. And this is a real game changer, and that's maybe the reason why the press coverage was a surprise for me. Brussels, not the place to be for everything, all around the world, because many journalists were surprised that we were able to go so fast. But so fast doesn't mean to approve blindly. No, we challenge a lot. There are some victims on the first row of the challenge by the IOSCO of the quality of the draft, and they adapt their standards in order to take into account the requests coming from IOSCO. This endorsement, ladies and gentlemen, will put an end to the alphabet soup of climate disclosure, and at the same time, the ISSB standards provide the mechanism that address proportionality and promote interoperability. So what does it mean in non-technical standards? For me, the most important is that the train was able to start on time, July. And that's the case. But it doesn't mean that the train in all jurisdictions will have the same size and the same speed. It's about scalability, proportionality. But I think that due to the endorsement of IOSCO of ISSB standards, that a number of jurisdictions across continents are in the process of implementing the standards according to the national procedure, take into account country-specific circumstances. And we need to maintain the momentum. Momentum is important as we are discussing about political aspect and about implementation of new standards. We need to maintain the strong momentum while recognizing that the transition will require significant change management and that company may face challenges in first-time application. So my reflection is to say, ladies and gentlemen, is the speed normal? Is this normal? Not at all. Not at all. It's only a 2 years history. We start from scratch in Glasgow with the launch of ISSB, a board which means diversity, not only about gender, not only about region, but also about background, people coming from different jurisdictions, regulatory aspect, new world, sustainable finance, from the industry, academy. They were able to make Belgium compromise, if I may call it that, for multi-locations. They were able to merge with other standard setters, like the SASB, with a lot of expertise in the US. They were able to launch a prototype, and then the first two standards, S1 and S2, in less than 2 years. Everybody who is involved in international discussion know that it's not fast, it's very fast. And the speed for me, that was one of my priorities when I was elected, not per se, but because I know the same story that Fikop upset. There are many expectations from John and Mary in the street. So we need to deliver on time. Now, what does it mean for the moment? IOSCO has been working with ISSB on a comprehensive capacity building program aimed at assisting regulators in their consideration of the use of ISSB standards. And the participation of growing emerging markets is absolutely key in this regard. We also welcome the ISSB progress to develop an adoption guide to support jurisdiction as they consider implementing its standards. Further, ISSB educational materials will also be useful to help issuers apply the standard. Your concern are my concern. If you are the CEO, CFO, legal counsel of a company, it means a lot of capacity building. I understand that. I share your concern. One figure, if I may, I have the pleasure also to be the CEO of the Belgium Financial Supervisor, 400 people in charge of the supervision of the stock exchange, market, and so on. 400 people, 75 are professional in university degrees. I asked to my team to compute how many people I need for sustainable finance. 20. It's a lot. And I know what it means also for listed company auditors, user preparers. So it's a common challenge, and that's the reason why we welcome the ISSB progress to develop an option line, but also capacity building. Last but not least, because it's about trust, disclosure need to be trusted, which is why we need global arrangement for independent assurance, audit, external audit of this disclosure. What does it mean? It means that the independent audit standard setting boards in charge of updating the relevant international technical and ethical standards have made significant progress in recent months. They didn't have the choice. I challenge that a lot in my capacity as IOSCO chair. And they are also on track to finalize this in time for the first set of 2024 audited reports. Again, when I had the pleasure to give my first public speech in Sharm el-Sheikh, my objective was 2024, to be back to the market, the stakeholders, with a comprehensive, fully fledged toolkit of all what you need in order to ensure level playing field about quality and quantity of information related to financial disclosure. I am not sure that so many people in Sharm el-Sheikh were convinced by my word. Many of them will say that's normal, it's a new chair, it's very dynamic, often enthusiastic, we will see. Well, ladies and gentlemen, excellencies, I can tell you, here we are, because it will be there. You will have a fully fledged toolkit in order to file, if necessary, depends on each jurisdiction decision for the filing of the 2024 annual account. Sustainability reporting, perhaps similar to balance sheet and income statement, only offer a snapshot of a company. And this is an important building block, but it's not sufficient for investors interested in companies who have pledged to achieve net zero. And this is where the importance of transition plan comes in. Transition plan should provide investors with useful information about medium-term plans and the risk and opportunity associated with those plans. But this is realistic, let us be clear. It's a step-by-step approach, only where transition plans provide accurate information and are comparable. Otherwise, they may foster greenwashing, thereby putting the integrity of sustainable finance at risk and eroding the trust of investors. What does it mean? First, let us try, and that will be done, to speak the same common language with some different accent, 130,000 companies. It means better quality, more data to extract through giant database, public-private partnership. One example, the well-known CDSC, I would say objective, supported, managed by Emmanuel Macron and Michael Bloomberg. One example of public-private. So it means the same language at international level, better capacity to extract data. It means less problem from a technical point of view of a scope 3, and it means how to be able to switch to transition plan with robust methodology. So it's a comprehensive journey, step by step, same language, more data, and then how to be able to use that for implementing transition plan. That's for, I would say, disclosure. One last comment, if I may, ladies and gentlemen. Let me say a word about the publication this week of our carbon market consultation report. Voluntary carbon market, or VCM, have gained substantially in importance in recent years. But for those markets to succeed, they need integrity, both environmental and financial. Again, part of the DNA, I would say, of IOSCO, how to contribute to our investor protection and market integrity mandate. We are not coming with a revolutionary principle. How to copy and paste principle that we are used to working for the supervision of trading venues, asset management. That's what we aim to explain about a new toolkit related to voluntary carbon market. And I believe IOSCO and its international market expertise will be key in promoting financial integrity and the necessary trust to scale this market. And I encourage all stakeholders to comment on this continent. With this, let me draw my remark to a close and thank you for your attention.